Hi, and welcome to Cooking in Mike's Backyard. I reviewed the videos I posted already, and I may have given the impression that cooking in your backyard is time-consuming and complex. Nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, you look at the videos and you go, my God, bacon, 14 days. Does this guy have a job? I do have a job. Unfortunately, it does not involve bacon. But I wanted to make sure I fixed the problem. I'm going to show you 3 great dishes you can make that don't take a lot of time. They are delicious and they look really great on the plate. All right, so the first thing we're going to make is some delicious smoked salmon. People have a tendency to overcook the salmon. I like a nice moist salmon, but people are used to it a little drier. I'm going to show you how to smoke it where you get both results. All right, so I've arranged the salmon on a piece of aluminum foil and set it on a smoking rack. This has got the skin still on it. This method will work with either the skin on or the skin off. Sometimes I get the whole Costco without the whole salmon from Costco without the skin on it, and this works just as well. So what you do is you take 2 cloves of crushed garlic, add 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, and the juice from half a lemon, and just mix it up really well. After you get it mixed, you just brush it right onto the fish. Right, after you get all the fish covered, just take some coarse black pepper and just sprinkle that on. Not too much, but enough. So, whoop, we're gonna have to wipe that part off. A little too much pepper there. That's all right. So, not too much. And then you do the same thing with just a little bit of salt. I'm using coarse kosher salt, but you can use table salt if you want. Okay, so we're going to be smoking these with cherry wood at 250 degrees. We're going to put our temperature probe in the thick end of the fish, and when that reaches 145 degrees, it'll be done. It'll be nice and moist at that end and a little drier as you work your way towards the thinner section near the tail. That way, for those people who like the dry salmon, they can eat from that end, and I'll eat from the thick end. All right, so the salmon are done. They look really beautiful. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to slide them over onto a serving tray. I've got a long-handled spatula. They should come off pretty easy. You might catch the tin foil, but just back up and do it again. You just want to try to keep the salmon whole when you put them on the tray. Some of the skin's going to get left behind, but again, that's okay. All right, so you just arrange them on the plate so they look pretty. You're going to take the other half of that lemon that we used to season it, and we're going to basically put lemon wheels on top. And sprinkle with parsley. That's a little blobby. There we go. Now, what I like to do is I'm going to take some pasta salad and I'm just going to scoop up and fill the empty spaces. All right, the whole thing took about an hour in the smoker. It was 30 minutes in the smoker. They cooked pretty quickly. Pasta salad I just whipped together and put that on the table, and your guests will be impressed. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to show you that's quick and easy is smoked chicken thighs. They're really great. They're going to look really beautiful on the plate when we're done. Okay, so we start out, we're going to have a dozen chicken thighs. They've had the T-bone cut off the top, so they've just got one strip bone in there. And what we're going to do is for each thigh, we're going to cut off the knuckles with a pair of poultry scissors. Bam. And we're going to do that to all 12 thighs. Once you get your the knuckles cut off all the chicken thighs, it's time to mix up the rub. Chicken rub is pretty basic. You start out with a half a cup of brown sugar, 4 tablespoons of onion powder, 4 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, coarsely ground, 1 teaspoon cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon chili powder, and then just mix the rub thoroughly. All right, so after we got our rub mixed up, we're just going to sprinkle it onto the chicken and toss them around. You want to make sure that each piece is thoroughly coated with rub. Okay, so this next part I didn't invent, but actually it's a really cool way of cooking your chicken. Once you do it this way, even though it's going to seem weird the first time, you're never going to cook chicken any other way, because it just makes it just really look great on the plate. Okay, so I have some cupcake pans here, and I've drilled holes in them, and I have one set underneath that's got no holes in it at all. And what you do is you put the one with holes in on top, and just lay it inside the one without holes, and you fill each cup with chicken stock until it reaches the bottom of the top pan. And you do that. So you do that all the way around until you filled up all 12. So then what you do is you take your chicken and just put them into the cupcake holes. You push them down slightly, you want them to go in there. They're going to fall in naturally as you smoke them. The idea is you want them to be somewhat domed. Okay, after you've gotten all 12 filled, it's going to go into the smoker at 300 degrees for about an hour and a half. We're going to be smoking with mesquite today. All right, so after the chickens have been in the smoker for an hour and a half, all you do is take them out of the smoker and flip them over and set them back on the pan, skin side up. After you've got all 12 turned over, we're just going to sprinkle the tops with a little bit more rub. After you've got them all covered, we're just going to put them back in the smoker for 45 minutes at 300 degrees. All right, so after they've been in the smoker for another 45 minutes, you just take them out. What I have here is my regular barbecue sauce. I've just added some honey and a little bit of blackberry preserves. And I'm just going to brush the tops of each of the chickens kind of liberally. I want to make sure that there's a good coating on them. And then we're going to put them back in the smoker. All right, we've got them coated really well. So they're going to go back in the smoker for 15 minutes just so that the barbecue sauce can caramelize on there. Adding the blackcurrant preserves and the honey really darkened up the sauce nicely. It looks a deep, deep, deep dark red. All right. All right, they've been in the smoker 15 minutes and the barbecue sauce has caramelized quite nicely. So I'm just going to set them on a plate. Now, they're not all going to fit on this one plate, but I can put a good amount on there, and then if people want more, I'll just go back and get more. But for presentation purposes, I like to arrange them in one plate in a circle like this. All right, so then when I have them all plated up, I just finish them up with some fresh chopped green onions, and they look like you spent all day cooking. Reality is it's a total time of 2.5 hours in the smoker and about 10 more minutes of prep. All right, let's eat. Okay, so the last easy dish I'm going to show you how to make are shrimp kabobs. These have like a Cajun feel to them. You can spice them, you can vary the spices I'm going to show you, but I know this works and I know they taste great. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is mix up your marinade. Starting out with 6 cloves of crushed garlic. I'm going to put in ½ a cup of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of hot sauce. You can use anything you want. That's crystals, it's really great. 1 tablespoon of fresh rosemary, 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And all you do is just mix it up. Okay, so in addition to the marinade, we have 2 pounds of 1620 shrimp. The reason they're called 1620s is because that's how many shrimp there would be per pound. You can get bigger or smaller. You know, they have 20 to 24 count, which would be tiny. And then you have, you know, some really big ones. I've seen 12 and 13 count shrimp. But these are 1620s. They're really great for kebabs. You're also going to need a pineapple, 2 bell peppers. I got orange because I like the color, but you can pretty much use anything. I don't like using green because they're kind of bitter, but red or yellow or orange work well. And then I have some cherry tomatoes. These are heirlooms. They're, I think they're gonna be pretty flavorful. All right, on the bell peppers, you're gonna cut the tops off, seed them, cut the bottoms off, and then cut them into strips about 1 inch wide. Okay, once you get your marinated mixed up and your vegetables cut, you're just going to put the shrimp, the bell peppers, and the cherry tomatoes in the marinade and just toss it around. All right, so after you get it all tossed up, you're just going to cover it with plastic and let it rest for about 30 minutes. Okay, so while the shrimp are marinating with the other vegetables, we're going to cut up our pineapple. Now the only thing tricky about this dish is that there are 4 different types of food on one kebab skewer. So what you have to do is, you want to make sure they all cook and are all done at the same time. So the way to do that is to adjust the size of what it is you're cooking. Can't do a lot with the cherry tomatoes. I know the shrimp are going to take about 30 minutes to cook, so I want to cut the pineapple into chunks that I think will be hot all the way through by the time the shrimp is ready. If you make big chunks, they're liable to be still cold in the center, or at least, you know, room temperature. So I really want them warm, so I'm going to slice this in a way that guarantees that they'll be done around the same time as the shrimp. Okay, I've quartered the pineapple and cut the core off and created these little wedges. Now what I want to do is I want to cut them, but like I said, I don't want to cut them too thick because I want them to be able to be hot around the same time that the shrimp are cooked. So I'd just say about maybe 1/3 of an inch, maybe 1/2 inch, but about that thick. Okay, so once you've got your shrimp marinated, your vegetables marinated, and your pineapple cut, about like that, you're gonna make your kebabs. It's pretty easy stuff. I always start out with 1 shrimp first, bring it all the way to the end, and then I just alternate between the 3 things I'm adding. All right, so after I've got them all skewered, we have 8 of them, I'm just going to sprinkle them with a little Creole seasoning salt, just to give them a little extra kick. Also, I've made this one right here. When you cook shrimp, you can't really cook to temperature, so you're gonna need to be able to taste them. What you're looking for is you want them to be white all the way through, have no translucence. These are gonna take 30 minutes. I'm really confident, but you know, I always make an extra little skewer just in case so I can test. All right, so now they're gonna go into the smoker at 250 degrees for 30 minutes. I'm smoking with hickory because they're not going to spend a lot of time in the smoke, and I want to make sure I get smoke flavor. So I'm using hickory. It's a little bit more intense than I normally would use if I was cooking fish, but like I said, they're not going to be in the smoker very long, and I really want to get that smoky taste. Okay, the kabobs are done. They were in for 30 minutes. They look beautiful. I tested one. They were done perfectly. Now it's time to plate them up. Looking good. I like it when things are sort of almost falling off the plate. It gives the illusion of a lot of stuff. While they were cooking, I mixed up a little bit of dipping sauce. You can use cocktail sauce or anything you like. This is a mixture of butter, Worcestershire, garlic, and hot sauce, and red chili peppers. It's kind of a nod to a traditional Louisiana barbecue sauce. For shrimp barbecue. All right, so there you go. It's easy. The whole thing took about an hour and a half. The only hard part was skewering it, and that wasn't really hard. It was just time consuming. But there you go. All right, I hope I dispelled the myth that everything you cook in a smoker is complex. Those were 3 easy dishes. They're all really beautiful. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, click subscribe or like. I'm posting videos as often as I can. All right, thanks for watching.